Hey guys, it's Joel from guntoter.org. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing 1913 stocks for your rifle. We picked three that I think are really popular and I wanted to talk through. The Magpul Universal Carbine stock, the B5 Systems Modular Platform stock, and then another one that maybe isn't quite as well known, the Haga Defense Zhukov 1913 adapter. So obviously there's a ton of different 1913 stocks out there, right? Like they're all over the place. There's hundreds at this point. So why did I select these three? Well, I kind of came up with four criteria that I thought was important. One, it needed to be folding. The whole reason behind, having a bufferless system that I can put a 1913 stock on, at least for me, is that I can fold that stock, make it a little bit shorter, make it a little more compact for stowing and carrying and everything else. So it had to be folding. Second, it had to have an adjustable comb. And that's important to me because for, when you're putting different optics and different height optics, it helps if you can actually switch the comb up a little bit to keep your eye kind of aligned with that optic. Third, it needed to have adjustable length of pull, which seems a little obvious, but a lot of the 1913 stocks are just fixed. I like having the ability to adjust the length of pull. And then fourth, and this is kind of a big one, I wanted it to be right around the 250 or less mark, which actually eliminated a lot of 1913 stocks that looked really awesome, but they were $300-400. I wanted to try to keep it kind of down in, I guess, what I would call the mid-range of the stocks. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. First, a word from our sponsors, which is of course me. We do have a store now, so if you go down below, you'll see that we have store t-shirts kind of like this one. Anything you buy from our store, the profit goes right back to helping us run this channel, to helping us buy like these stocks, for example. I didn't get sent these stocks, I bought them. So I would greatly appreciate it if you wanted to head over there and at least browse around a little bit. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first stock we are going to talk about is the B5. Switched up on you, thought I was going to do the Magpul first, didn't you? Some of the positives of this. One, the comb is obviously adjustable and it's super easy to adjust. Literally all you have to do is that right there and boom, it's adjusted. This is different than some of the other ones like the Magpul and the Haga Defense, where you actually have to have a separate piece to adjust it, but you can actually adjust this one on the fly. It's pretty easy. So boom. It also meets our second criteria here. It is adjustable for length of pull. Now, one thing I like about this one is the fact that the comb adjustment is on the forward part here. For example, the Magpul, the comb adjustment is actually on the back. So depending on how how your face aligns and where you like to kind of put your cheek weld, that's something to think about, is whether you've got that forward or that rear comb. Obviously this is mounted here on my BRN 180 Gen 2, and that's important because the Gen 2 has the charging handle right here, which means when you fold this, because this is a left folding stock only, as you can see there, you cannot change this out to fold right. It only folds left, which is perfect for the BRN 180 with the right side charging handle. Now, something to think about though is if you have a left side charging handle, for example, the Makasi, the Robinson XCR, and I'm sure there's some other ones out there I'm missing, but if you have a left side charging handle, very good chance that you would not be able to operate that charging handle with this stock in the folded position, which does kind of negate, the quick employment of the rifle with the stock folded. It does have, as you saw, it's just a simple press and rotate, and it's pretty tight actually. It doesn't have a lot of wiggle in it, so I like that. Overall, it's a really it's a nice stock. I like having it a little bit forward, and actually the reason I mounted it on this BRN 180 is because I have, as you can see, the Trigicon here is in a really tall mount. So what that allows me to do is, obviously the tall mount is big for if you're running with nods or if you're running with gas mask or anything like that. But if you're not, it tends to get you you're not quite on. So with that quick comb adjust, now I'm right back on the side where I need to be. And then if I want to switch back to running, gas mask or something like that, I drop it back down and boom, I can run it however I want. So yeah, I really like the fact that the comb adjust is forward. I like the fact that the comb adjust is super easy. And again, it's got a really nice tight lockup. Now, one negative, or not really a negative, something you might want to think about with this one. If you have a platform that has a rear charging handle, like say the MCX, this forward comb mount here is not really going to help you a whole lot, because if you pull it up, more than likely you're going to run into issues with the charging handle. So that's just kind of a caution with that, but that's really kind of the biggest consideration. So it's a solid option, but like I said, if you have either a left side charging handle or a rear charging handle, you may not be able to get your maximum benefit out of this stock. All right, next up we have the Magpul universal carbine stock, shown here on my Robinson XCR. And the reason I put it on this is because, like I was talking about earlier, this does have the left side charging handle. So a few things about the Magpul. The biggest thing, you can actually adjust, you can change the folding side on the Magpul. So for example, I have this set up to fold right because of the charging handle, but you can also set it up to fold left. So that option is yours. And it's actually a pretty quick and easy switch. Now, a downside, as you can see here, is there's a little more slop in the Magpul than the B5, which kind of surprised me, because usually Magpul's products are pretty tight. I don't think it's enough slop that like it's going to accidentally, flop open when it's folded, but there is, a little more than I was expecting. As you can see, it is adjustable, and you can adjust the comb as well. Now, unlike the B5, which the comb adjustment is integrated into the stock, Magpul does comb adjustments with these little snap-ons, and you can do this one of two ways. If you are running like the XCR here, where it doesn't have a rear charging handle, nothing's coming back this direction, you can mount it this way. If you are running something like, for example, the MCX, where you have a rear charging handle, you can actually put it on this way, which gives you a little more clearance for that rearward charging handle. Now, as you can see, when I was kind of demoing with the little snap-ons, your comb adjustment is all to the rear of the adjustment, which may or may not be a big deal for you. If you're one of those people who likes to get your cheek weld really, really close, you're probably going to be putting your face here on this section right here, which may not be super comfortable. However, obviously, I've obviously got some rail left here, so I could always move this back. So it's not something that can't be overcome, but it is something to think about, is that your comb adjustment's all going to be to the rear here, and that just might be something to think about. You do also have a and I forgot to mention this on the B5, you do have the sling mount on the back here, and you can reverse it. You can reverse it on both of them. So that's something. Now, unlike the B5, where it's the press and roll, this does have a button. So that's your locking mechanism there. And then also, as you saw when I folded it a minute ago, one of the important things is when you fold this, it's actually got a little bit of an angle. Now, why does that angle matter? Well, as you can see here, it keeps the stock clear of the charging, or the ejection port, sorry. It keeps clear of the charging handle too, because it's folded to the right, but keeps it clear of the ejection port. And that's important because, again, if one of the big reasons we have the folding stock is to make this thing compact, and the reason we want to not hit the charging handle is because we want to be able to operate it with the stock in a folded position, then naturally, you're also going to want it clear of the ejection port, because the last thing you want is that stock blocking the ejection port. You get one shot off and then you've got a jam, and well, that's not super useful, is it? So that's kind of the quick overview of the Magpul. Personally, I actually like the Magpul better. of the three, and we'll get into the Haga here in just a second, but of the three, the Magpul is my favorite. And the biggest win, well, the two biggest wins is the fact that you can switch it from right to left. That's a big deal. And the fact that it goes and it clears the ejection port. Because, for example, the B5, even if it were able to be flipped back and forth, it folds straight. So, you might have some issues with the ejection port on that one. So that I think kind of sets the Magpul apart, is the fact that you can switch it and it stays clear of the ejection port. So it really kind of maximizes the folding stock utility more, I think, than either of the other options. But with that said, let's talk about the Haga real quick, just as an option, and then I will close this out. Okay, so our final consideration is actually going to be the Haga Defense Zhukov 1913 adapter. So I don't have this mounted on anything. I will show you some pictures as I'm going through. So this is kind of different in that it's not a ground up designed stock. Basically all Haga Defense did was take a Magpul Zhukov stock and build this adapter for it. So you pop off the AK adapter and then just put this on. So one of the benefits there, obviously, is if you already have a Zhukov, you can put this adapter on, and it's a lot cheaper than buying a complete stock system. This, like the B5, this only folds to one side, only this one only folds to the right. And like the other Magpul stock, it does have the push button versus the B5's kind of friction fit. So there's that. If you've used Zhukov before, then obviously the adjustment is to the rear, which means your comb adjustment, which is also done with clip-ons, kind of like the UCS, but your comb adjustment is going to be more forward. So if you need a right side folding with the comb adjustment forward, the Zhukov might be an option. Now, with that said, as you can see in the picture that is hopefully popping up where it's supposed to, this folds straight. So once you fold this to the right, as you can see, it goes straight. Depending on how you have this mounted, there's a very, very good chance that you're going to block your ejection port with this. So just something to think about. It may interfere with operating the firearm with the stock folded. So, not a huge issue, but maybe something you want to consider when you're going through the different stocks. As I said, the Magpul UCS is definitely my favorite of these three options. But I just thought that the Zhukov adapter was interesting because for those of you out there, again, who may already have a Zhukov, this is a much cheaper alternative than buying an entirely new stock system, assuming that the limitations, fit with your needs. So with that said, let's go ahead and close it out, sum it up, and get y'all on your way. Okay, so now you've seen all three options, kind of talk through the pros and cons of each. I actually think they all have kind of their own uses. I do like the B5. I really do like that comb adjustment. It's super easy, super smooth. But like I said, I really think the Magpul, for an all-around option, gives you just the most flexibility of the three options. And I think it is probably the one that I would pick kind of universally for the various 1913 platforms that I do have, which I have the MCX, I have the McCossie, I have the Jackal, I have, good grief, I have a Faxon ARAK, obviously I've got the Robinson, I've got the BRN 180, so I've got all sorts of options. And I do think that the Magpul would probably be kind of my universal choice for all of those, just because again, the most options, and I can configure it as I need. So hopefully this was useful for you. It's been my first gear video in a while, so as you can see, I'm probably a little rusty, but hopefully it wasn't awful. As I said at the beginning, if you could take a quick glance at our store, see if there's anything in there you might like, we'd really appreciate that, because again, Anything you buy in there, all the profits go towards buying stuff for us to review. Also, if you are a GovX member, you do get a discount in our store, so something to think about. But we really appreciate that. I hate just asking people for money, so while we do still have the Patreon, I don't really push that anymore. I'd much rather sell you something that you can get some use out of, and then, you know, turn the profits back into the channel. So with that said, again, if you have comments, questions, drop them below. I do read them. I do try to respond. Sometimes it's a little slow, but I do try to respond. And I appreciate y'all watching, and I hope to see you again next time.